Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We finished the fight with Invincible and Omni-Man. We saw the aftermath of that. We're going to be starting issue 14. As always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment for any feedback or ideas you guys might have. I'm going to be trying several different things with this channel, and you'll be seeing different types of videos in the future, but the focus will still be on deep voice readings and things to help you guys sleep. So, without further ado, let's get right into Invincible issue 14. As you guys can see, there's a big battle going on with Eve and Invincible fighting aliens with the rest of the new Guardians of the Globe. And we see Robot in the middle of the fight say, "Invincible, you said when you fought these things before, they didn't last more than an hour until their rapid aging caused them to retreat. We have been at this nearly 2 hours, and their numbers only increase. I fear we cannot hold out much longer." Invincible says, "I don't know what's going on. Something is different. And if we don't figure out what it is soon, I don't think we're going to win." Just then, Eve gets blasted in the back, and she falls right into Rex's arms. And Rex says, "See, we can still get along." And she just says, "Jerk." One of the aliens they're fighting says, "Look, no, that's not the alien. That's one of the members of the Guardians of the Globe, the one that changes into the big monster girl." That's her name. Monster Girl. She says, "Look, something's coming out of the portal." And just then, they see a giant robot with a throne on top of it, with three aliens, and what seems one of them looking like their king. Invincible flies towards it and says, "I got dibs on this guy." Before he can reach him, though, the guards block the leader and zap Invincible with something, some kind of blast. The leader then gets up and says, "You are the son, half of the duo known as the Scourge of the Flaxan Empire. The father was captured by us many ages ago. The destruction he caused to our home world has taken us centuries to repair. Centuries we spent plotting, scheming, preparing. We used recordings of his dialogue to learn your language. We used material from his clothing to study the properties of this dimension. Over time, we learn to counteract the side effect of being in your dimension. And now, with our chrono bands, we'll finally have our revenge. Just then, a fireball goes flying out of the air and hits the leader right on his wrist where his chrono band was that was preventing his aging. And he looks and he just says, "Oh hell." And Robot says, "It's the wristbands. Get rid of the wristbands." The advanced aging wasn't this immediate last time. The accelerated time must accumulate while they're here, and the bands just block the side effects. Rex says, "Lucky for us." The leader, being carried away, says, "Our weakness has been discovered. We must retreat before our entire army is lost. Give the order." And it looks like they give the order for the army to retreat. Invincible lands and says, "We just letting them go?" Robot says, "Keeping them here would be a death sentence. Hopefully, they've learned their lesson." Right, and I'm supposed to be the new guy. Robot says, "It is not mathematically inconceivable that at some point we will encounter an adversary that realizes the error of their ways and gives up their plans for revenge." "I hope you're right," Invincible says. "This didn't go quite as smooth as I calculated it would, but I can only assume it would have been much worse without your assistance. Thanks for tagging along, Eve and Invincible." "Glad I could help," Invincible says. "Likewise," says Eve. As Monster Girl changes back to normal, Robot says, "And that's that. The government should be sending in some teams to clear out the area. Looks like we can head on home." "Fantastic," Monster Girl says. "I've got a date tonight." Later that night, back at Mark's house, he lands to climb into his window and he hears someone say, "I'll be watching you." And he turns around to see Immortal. Immortal continues saying, "Cecil says you're one of the good guys. I have my suspicions. It's been my experience that apples rarely fall far from the tree, even if they tell themselves otherwise at first. I'm going to be keeping an eye on you. I won't let you fulfill his mission. I see one sign of you changing sides, and I'm taking you out. Simple as that." Invincible says, "I fought him. I tried to stop him. I stood against him for this world. For a moment, I even held my own against him, more than I can say for you. Cecil has it all on tape, if you don't believe me." And Immortal says, "I am aware of all that. I still have my doubts. I'll be watching you," as he flies away. Invincible climbs into his bedroom window and he sees Cecil waiting for him. And Cecil says, "Don't mind him. He's an enormous jerk. How did you get in here?" Cecil says that's not important. We have a situation here, Mark. Something truly unfortunate has happened. We need to talk. What's going on? Invincible says. Your father, the earpiece he had that let him communicate with me, it worked both ways. We were able to record everything he said to you before he left the planet. Yeah, you already told me that. That's how you knew I tried to fight him. It's been leaked to the media, the entire recording. Everything from his encounter with the immortal to him leaving the planet, every single second, completely unedited, it's all out there. I don't know who leaked it, but I will find out, and it won't be pretty. We're monitoring everyone that had access to the recording now. A simple scan of spending habits over the next few months should reveal the culprit. I'm sure they made quite a sum of money off the sale. It's been aired in a special on one of the network stations, but excerpts have been running on the news and in promos for the special all day long. I would have told you earlier, but I wanted to tell you in person. Invincible says, but the things he said, the things he talked about, that would mean your identity is not compromised. He never referred to you as anything other than son or Mark. It was already public knowledge that you were his son. He didn't refer to your mother by name at any time. He made no reference to his name, his job, any locations. Nothing was specifically mentioned. Neither you nor your father have ever been associated with any specific area of the country. You have no metropolis aside from your involvement with your physics teacher. There's nothing to tie you with this region. You've both been active in all parts of the world. It's only speculated that you are American. My main concern is your mother. The discussion with your father nearly put her into shock before. She didn't speak for nearly 2 weeks, almost the entire time you were unconscious. These are all things she's heard before, but I don't know that she's ready to hear it again. If there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks, Cecil, Invincible says. I really appreciate this. And don't worry, we'll get the guy responsible for this leak. It won't happen again. And with that, I must make my exit. 1, to teleport, standby. Teleport? We can do that? Invincible says. Cecil says, we just got it. It cost taxpayers $5 million every time we use it, but I just had to try it. We're ready for you, someone says over the earpiece. Cecil says, engage, and he's gone. Invincible just says, wow. Later on, someone's knocking at the door, and Mark's coming down to answer the door and says, geez, who could it be this time? He opens the door to see the tailor that made the superhero costumes. And Mark says, hey man, I saw Shrinking Ray's new costume today. Nice job. The tailor says, oh, thanks. That was a freebie. I felt guilty about that first costume. It was basically just a Fantastic Four uniform with a mask in different colors. Not my best work. Interesting that he said Fantastic Four. I knew the Invincible comics had references to other heroes, but I didn't expect one that direct. Anyway, the tailor asks, Mark, is your mother in? Mark says, yeah, I think so. And he looks into the living room and says, Mom? And we see her sitting on the couch, tears in her eyes, as she's watching the news. And she's hearing the conversation between Mark and Omni-Man. We hear, your mother means nothing to me. Liar. No. I'm telling you the truth for the first time in your life. Mom, Mark says, we have company, Mom. Oh, Mark, I didn't know you were home. Hi, Art. That's his name, Art. You been okay? I'm fine, Debbie. It's you that I'm worried about. If you're in the mood to talk, I'd be happy to listen to whatever you've got to say. Trust me, Debbie says. I have some things I'd like to get off my chest, but I... Looks like Art takes a look at Mark, and Mark takes a hint and says, well, I'm going to turn in. I've got my first day back to school tomorrow, and I don't want to be dozing off in class. Good night. As Mark heads up, Art pulls out a bottle and he says, you want a drink? And Debbie says, God, yes. The next day, at school, we see some kids running through the halls. One kid asks, hey, Chad, what's going on? Dude, huge fight. You didn't hear? Who is it? Who's fighting? Derek and, well, a bunch of kids. And then we see the fight and we see Derek, the one who had the bomb strapped to his chest, or had his body turned into a bomb. He's picking two kids up and he says, you still think I'm a freak? Huh? What are you going to do now? Just then someone grabs a hold of one of the students and says, hold it right there, mister. Okay, fellas, this fight is over. Let's take it to the principal's office. I mean it. This stops here now. You're all in enough trouble as it is. Mr. King, the student says. They started it, Derek says angrily. I don't care who started it, Derek. This isn't the way you react to instigation. You're all in trouble. I want you all in my office now, the principal says. Mark, he sees Mark in the crowd and he says, Mark, I didn't know you were back already. If you could come to my office in a few minutes, I should be done with these boys shortly. I'd like to talk to you. Okay, Mark says. William sees Mark and says, Mark, man, you're back. It's so good to see you. And Eve says, I'm sorry to hear about your dad. Yeah, I'm really sorry too. Some random kid says, me too. And Mark says, so can we drop this for now? William says, okay, sorry. You guys want to go out for a quick bite at the Burger Mart after school? It might help take your mind off things, Mark. I'm in. This random kid says, who is this kid? He just walked up and started talking. I think I can do that, Mark says. And William's like, cool. It's been a while since we've all hung out after school. This will be fun. That is, unless you'd rather do something else, Eve, or you could tag along. And Eve says, don't worry. I've got plenty of stuff to do today, and I don't want to break up your little boys club. You go have fun. I've got to get to class. Later, guys. Mark says, what was that? Since when do you care about what Eve wants to do? I didn't even know you two spoke. The random kid says, you better fill him in, William. I've got to be getting to class. We're going out, man, William says. We're totally a couple. And I've got you and your dad to thank for it. What? Mark says. Oh, dude, that did not come out the way I meant it to. Really. I didn't mean it to sound, I didn't mean to make it sound like, whatever, Mark says. I've got to get to class. Mark, I'm sorry. Mark? We're still going to Burger Mart, right? Mark? And he just ignores him. William and Eve? Mark says to himself. Just then, Mark hears, I forgot her name. Oh my god, I forgot her name. He hears a girl yell his name, Mark. He's like, huh? And he turns around and the girl kisses him. I believe this is a girl that gave him his number before. I'm forgetting her name. I'm sorry, guys, I'm forgetting her name. Amber. That's what it is. Amber. After she kisses him, Mark says, Amber, hey. And it looks like a teacher says, none of that PDA, you two. Get to class. Yes, ma'am, Amber says. I've been worried about you. I heard about your dad, and I'm so sorry that happened. But then when you were out of school for so long, Mark says, I know. I missed you a lot. My mom and I were out of town for quite a while for the funeral. My dad, wasn't from around here. Can I come over tonight? I really want to see you, Amber says. I don't know. I'm not sure if my mom is up for visitors just yet. I'll call you, okay? I just don't know how things are. Got to go talk to Principal Winslow now before I'm too late for class. I'll call you. Okay, Amber says. I'll talk to you later. In the principal's office, the principal starts saying, Mark, thanks for coming by. I just wanted to chat with you about current events. I've been made aware of everything that's been going on with you, and I'd like to offer my condolences for your loss. I only met your father once at a PTA meeting when you were a freshman, but I could tell just from that brief meeting that he was a good man. I've been told that I've got an uncanny ability for judging the character of a person. Right, well, thanks, sir. I'm not done yet, Mark. I was told you got a full scholarship to Upstate University, and I wanted to congratulate you. You've made a good choice. That's a fine school, and it seems your academic record has really impressed them. But your senior year isn't over just yet. Mark says, I understand that. I have makeup work, sir, but I've only been back one day. I'll do my best. I I know, son. Don't worry. What I was getting at is that you've missed a little over 3 weeks of school. That's a lot of makeup. While I can't make all that work just go away, I just wanted to let you know that we in the faculty know that you're going what you're going through, and we want you to graduate as planned. We'll give you time to make up the work. Thanks, sir. You've got nothing to worry about here, Mark, as he leaves the office. Hopefully that bike or car that was just driving by wasn't too loud for you guys. Over at the Burger Mart, we see William and the other guy sitting and eating as Mark arrives. William says, "Oh man, here he is." "Hey guys," Mark says. William says, "I didn't know if you'd show, man. I thought you'd still be pissed off." "It's okay, William. I'm over that now. I probably shouldn't have gotten as mad as I did to begin with." "No way, dude. I totally understand why you got so mad. I was completely out of line. You had every right to be pissed." Mark says, "That may be true, but the thing is, we're all too young for any of this stuff to be happening to us. We've got no experience dealing with these things. I can't really blame you. I don't really know how I should be acting either. This is all new to me." "Still, man," William says, "I want you to know I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to bring it up like that." "Okay, man, enough. Let's get to the good stuff. You and Eve, what's up with that? Wild, huh?" "Yeah," Mark says, "to say the least. I wouldn't have expected that in a million years." "Me neither." "Oh, come on, guys. It's not that hard to believe. Even I are. Oh, crap. What? What? What I'd say? What's going on?" Just then, Mark's old manager walks up and says, "I think he means me." The manager says, "I haven't seen you in here since you quit, Mark. What have you been up to? Did you ever get a new job? If so, I see you were smart enough not to put me down as a reference." "Please, can we do this another time?" Mark says. "What's the matter, Mark? You're not up for a confrontation? You think you can just leave me hanging like you did when you quit and just never have to face me? Think again, kid. And just then Williams snaps and he jumps up saying, "Look, jerkface, he's not in the mood for this. Why don't you just leave him alone?" "Kid, I could have you thrown out for raising your voice at me. You better. Did you just call me jerkface?" And Mark just sits there and he just sighs. Later, at the looks like the Guardians of the Globe's base, we see Robot and Donald talking. And Donald says, "You did well in Saudi Arabia today. The Flaxans, I believe they were called, didn't cause much damage. And it wasn't too long an incident. We're not impressed, but your team is improving." Robot says, "I'm glad you feel that way, but I do not agree with your initial assessment of my team. I think we are more than capable." "No," Donald interrupts. Your, res- your response time is nearly half of what the original team boasted. We didn't expect you to completely fill their shoes, but we did not expect you to fall so short, which is why we're expanding the team. This is bulletproof. He was at the auditions you held earlier, but you felt he didn't make the cut. He's as fast as the Red Rush and almost as invulnerable as Omni-Man, but not nearly as evil," he says. Donald continues, saying he can also fly, something your team sorely needs. "I think he'll make a fine addition." Monster Girl says, "fine" being the operative word. Donald continues, saying that, coupled with your placement in the original Guardians base, with the added resources it brings, should improve the overall dynamic of this team. Robot says, "How did we secure this base? I was under the impression that the representatives of Darkwing and Warwoman would not allow us to use it." And then someone says, "For that, you can thank your new consultant." And it's immortal. And that was Cecil who said that. And he continues saying he had a small involvement with the previous owners, and he can be very persuasive. Robot says, "Consultant, am I being demoted?" "Not yet," Cecil says, "but the day's still young. He's being brought in as a consultant. You can't boss him around, and he can't boss you around. You are equals, but you are in charge of the team. He's just here to offer advice and assist you in every way he can. You can take his advice or ignore it, but I suggest you take it. I'll leave you girls to get acquainted. Come on, Donald." And Robot sits there, seemingly bothered by this new development. As Donald and Cecil are leaving, they start to talk with each other, and Donald says, "You want me to give you a lift back?" "No way. Are you kidding me? One to teleport." "But sir, we should only use the teleporter in cases of extreme emergency. You realize the cost, don't you? You've already used it 6 times this week." "I know, Donald. I know. I think I'm addicted," as he uses it again. Back at Mark's house, he comes home. He says, "Mom, I'm home." "Mom, where are you?" He starts looking through the house and he says, "Mom?" And he finds his mother on the floor crying. "Mom, Mom, what happened? Are you okay?" She says, "I was making dinner. I was making dinner for three. For a minute, I didn't realize. I had forgotten he was gone." "It's okay, Mom. I'm here now. Calm down. Why did you have to fight him, Mark? Why did you have to drive him away?" And that hits Mark right in the heart. He begins to cry too, still holding her on the floor in the middle of the kitchen. And that's where we're going to end this one. Alright, guys. Let me know what you guys think. And remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, rest easy, be gentle, and take it easy. Peace.